Alright, I did some more grinding and flipped a few cars out of the junkyard, which we're going to do that in this video so I can show you how to make a lot of money. I was up to 140,000, but I bought all the upgrades. I have everything upgraded in here, and that's going to maximize my profits later on, because you want to 100% your rebuild when you're buying cars from the junkyard and reselling them. It'll maximize your profits, and you can make quite a bit. So, oh yeah, you can edit the whole garage. It takes forever, but you can do it. It's kind of neat. That's something I only want to do once. So let's go to the junkyard, see what they got. I've got enough to fully restore a car as long as it's under 20,000. There's still some features in this game that I haven't tinkered with. I'll get around to it. It's got a lot more options than the previous one. I'm not a fan of the repairing system. I wish they'd go back to the old one, or at least make it where you can choose which one you want. I would rather just the game give me the option. Let's see. I don't want this one because the more expensive the car, the more profit you're going to make. But if you don't have a lot, cars like that are awesome. I suggest you at least have 20,000. You won't be able to fully restore the car, but you'll be able to get pretty close. And you need to go as close to zero on your money as you can. And then sell it. Well, at least that one's got most of the motor. Let's see. So far, the most I've seen in here at one time is 3. Hopefully later on you get more. I still don't have any personal collection yet, but I'll work on that. There was one vehicle that I wanted to keep, but it was early on when I was grinding to get up there, so I had to sell it to make money. Oh, if you want to run, push down on the analog. Helps out. I accidentally found it out. So it looks like we're going to take this car. And we're going to fully restore it. We started out, we had 67,000. So you got to remember the number that you had before you went to the junkyard. I don't remember the exact numbers after 67, but that's what we had. Another little thing, like when it asked me where to send the car, I said garage. It does not put it in the garage. You have to go outside. and then put it onto the lift. I don't like that. It don't take long to do it, but I'm thinking, oh hey, you're gonna put it right in my garage. I could understand if all the lifts were full, that it would go outside, but put it in here. So the very first thing I do is I get the welder, move it over here, fix the body. Well, the frame, whatever. And then next, you're going to want to clean it, even though you're not going to notice anything right now. But that's part of it, so. Now we're going to just disassemble this thing and go from there. It's missing a lot. I don't know if I can repair the body parts yet. I'm getting close. That's one thing I've been working on, as you can see right here. One more level and I'll be able to, well, yeah, that should take care of everything. But I wanted that first so I could repair everything. And I'll worry about everything else later. Let's see real quick. Nope, I gotta have 6. Once I get to 6, I'll be able to do it. Alright. Like in the very first car that I bought and I didn't fully restore it because I couldn't afford to. But the very first one, I had to sell all the parts in my inventory, even the 100% ones, just so I could finish the build. Which sucked because I like saving the parts for other builds, but it helped me get where I am. So in the early stages, I recommend you hold on to all your junk parts, don't scrap them. That way, if you need money on a build, you can sell all those parts. I still don't know how I feel about the WD-40. I like the feature, but at the same time, it can be a little annoying. I'm not paying attention. I think the repairing of the parts takes way too long now. Like before, I could just mash the button and just worry about what actually got repaired and what didn't when I went to rebuilding the car. Now to focus on what I'm doing, because I could mess up every part. I mean, I understand it's a little more realistic, but come on. Once I get a good amount of money built up, I'll start saving cars. Like on 2018, if I went to the junkyard and I seen cars that I was like, oh yeah, I'd like to build that eventually, I'd buy it and put it in the parking garage for later. Even if I didn't have plans on working on it right now, I would stockpile cars. Because sometimes when you go to the junkyard, you see some rare stuff. And I'm expecting this game to be the same way. I've only been to the junkyard. This trip right here is the third time? Third or fourth? I think it's the third. But I just want to show you guys an easier way to make money if you're not aware already. Some people are probably already aware, and they might know a better way than me. It's not a fast, get-rich-quick thing, but it's probably one of the best ways to make money in here that I've found. So, alright. Then a few other issues, like when it comes to the crankshaft, if you've got, oh my gosh, sometimes this camera can be a pain. If you've got all these rod caps off, and then the crankshaft, oh my god, I can't remember the name, the plate thing. I don't know why you just can't take it off from the engine bay. Like, I understand it's underneath the block, but I still don't understand why. Once you get all the pistons off, it's going to be loose. And then like the oil filter, you have to put it on underneath. What the hell? I can put it on from the top, like, so why not just let me put it on from wherever? If I can get to it from here, why not? Just little petty stuff, you know? I wonder if anybody else has any complaints on stuff like that. In the beginning, when I was grinding missions to make some money to go to the junkyard, I ran into a few cars that it's new to this type of game, like the electric cars. That's pretty interesting. Makes you feel kind of stupid when you try to work on them and you don't have a clue. We're going to need a lot of parts for this car. It don't have anything. you also want to work on your discount too, that way you can get parts a little cheaper. Then I haven't really messed with buying the parts from the junkyard yet to see if that's really worth it. I'll get around to that, and when I do, I'll let you know. And when I get cars like this that only have 1 or 2 rims or something, well, it's got 3. I thought it only had 2. I'll usually just scrap the whole thing and buy new rims. I don't know if I can repair these rims yet, so they may get scrapped anyways. Now, once we get this disassembled, I'm gonna show you. They improved the body part thing when you go to search for them, and I really like how they did it. They made it so much easier to get the body parts for the car. 2018 was a pain. Still wish they'd work on the camera a little bit. Camera acts the same way it did in 2018. Like if I unbolt something, I wish it would stay right there instead of going back to like a designated position. And I wish we had more control of like zooming and moving the camera. I wish we could move it to the right and the left instead of just turning it. It's not bad. I mean, you can manage. But sometimes it gets a little tight in some of the areas, especially when you get into like fully built engines and stuff. You don't have a lot of room to see. So if we had more control over the camera, we could avoid situations like that. Yeah, and I got all this stuff by level 11, which means anybody can do it. You can probably do it sooner than that, because I messed up at first. Like the very first car that I did, I think I made $1,000 on it, which was terrible. I wasted all that time for $1,000. Because I wasn't ready. I went into it too early, being cocky, and I should have waited, saved up a little bit more money, but I didn't. Alright. Get that block out. We're going to go ahead and put the body together. So I can show you. But now when you go to the computer and you go to the body workstation, the car you have on the lift shows up in the top left. Now, I don't know how it works if you have 3 cars. When you have 3 lifts, I don't know if it shows them in a row, but I think that's awesome that it always does that. So you can go in here and you have all the parts for it, and it's not a pain. If we're going to buy all these, because I can't repair anything yet. But I think the way they did it made this part so much easier. Because I mean, it's just organized. Now I haven't messed with this. Apparently you can buy some different items. I haven't messed with it. And you need 2 license plates. Because that's part of 100%ing the car, believe it or not. Did I not buy the hood? I thought I bought everything. I wonder if it's not going to let me do it since there's no motor in there. Or wait a minute. That's not the right hood. It's going to take a different hood. So I wonder where you get that other hood. That's interesting. Haven't ran into that before. Alright, well, we'll deal with that later. This is annoying. Takes way too long. I just want to get in here and mash the button like before. And it's so easy to mess up on this. You want to try to repair as much as you can. Saves you a lot of money. Just don't do that. Because that's how you waste money. Like, I mean, I understand the feature, and it's a neat feature, but it takes way too long. Like when you salvage parts, It's a lot like this too. It's a little faster, I think. See how long this takes? With 2018, I'd already been done. Wouldn't be able to tell you what broke and what didn't, but I'd already be done. You just go in there and mash the X button. Prefer that so much more. Then when you get to a part that you don't want to mess up, makes you nervous, like that block, I don't want to mess that up because it's one of the most expensive parts. So I want to make sure that I repair it so I don't have to buy it because it cuts into my profit. Alright, now let's see what we gotta do. I have to buy all kinds of stuff, I know we do. Buy that. I check because I don't know sometimes if I have a part from something else. So I check anyways. Sometimes I'll buy the wrong part. So we gotta buy a power steering pump. And we gotta buy all kinds of stuff. Alright, let's get that crankshaft in there. That's one of the first things outside of the block that you want in there. Because you really need to get the pistons in there. Alright, so we're going to need the crankshaft bearing caps. Alright, time to spend some money. I think it's only 3. Yeah. It should be this one. So I'm going to go ahead and get 16 of these. And then it should be these. If not, I'll have them for another build. But we're going to find out. Well, there's a couple other things we need. Gonna need that. Need that. I know we're gonna need one of these because I destroyed one. We're going to need bushings and tie rods. We'll need these. And this is just off the top of my head of stuff I know we'll need. Oh, we need that power steering pump too. I did not pay attention to which ignition. Crap. Need 8 of them. We'll need that. Alright. We'll go with that for now. Get that in there. Distributor A, okay. Alright. I always do the engine first because it takes the longest. Once you get into the drivetrain and everything, it's not that bad. And it's very satisfying to rebuild these. I enjoy it. I don't know if anybody else enjoys it, but I do. I mean, I guess you wouldn't be playing the game if you didn't enjoy it, but pretty sure we don't have that. Okay. That's a power steering pump V8. Alright. Oh, I should have grabbed rocker arms. I didn't even think about that. Now, this is going to be a long video. These take a while. But the payout is really nice. And I think the more rare the car, the more the payout you get, or the more expensive as well. And you don't have to put any fluids in it. If you know you're going to sell it, then the fluids don't matter. I've checked to see if it changes the price, and it don't. So if you plan to sell it, don't even worry about putting oil or anything in it, because it's just going to waste your time. You're not going to get anything extra for it. I think if I bought a car, I would want it to have all its fluids, so I think they would make it to where you got a few bucks for it. This is the slowest part of the build. I still haven't test drove anything. Alright, we're going to need 2 of those scoop air filters. Alright, and the rockers, fuse box base B. No, I don't need that. I don't remember what cam gear. Cam gear V8 OH3 scoop air filter. I bet you can't buy them in here. I bet you have to go to that other one. No, they're in here. Okay. I was wrong. Well, I should have bought that. Oh well. Alright, timing chain. That's sweet. You almost always have to buy one of them, along with a water pump pulley. Anytime I do a build, yeah, see, I've always had to buy them. Oh yeah. Well, damn. Need that. Probably needs clips on this. Oh, I had a cap. Yeah. So, this right here. One of the builds, I forgot all about those clips. Left the whole build and it wasn't complete. Took me forever to figure out that I didn't have the clips. You want to put them on before you get into this situation, because it can be a pain. Alright. So, made the manifolds, and then the relays. So, 1, 2, 3 A's, 1 B, 1 C, and then 3, 1, 1, and 2, 1, 1. See if I can remember that. Three, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1. Okay. I like this edition. They didn't have this in 2018. Yeah, it takes a little longer, but I mean, all cars have these. I was hoping to get this done faster than this, but it's going to take over an hour. I'm ready for bed. Alright, so that part is done for now. If anybody's got any builds that they really like, or goofy builds, I did one on 2018 where I made the biggest wheels and tires I could, and they were sticking through the fender wells. It was pretty funny. It was dumb, but it was funny. I like doing stuff like that as a joke. Most of the time, you're going to need your flywheel. Another flywheel. I didn't mean to go out of there. I'm pretty sure you'll need the release bearing. One of these, or both of these right here, you can repair. I'm not sure. We're going to buy them both. And then if we run into the one that you can repair, we'll just try to remember that. It's a good thing I bought them all. We'd be going back and forth. Need a starter. Let's get some of these bushings in there. I like to do the bushings first before I start building the drivetrain, so I don't forget about them, because I've done that so many times. You almost always need the sway bar. Yep. So, start throwing this together. See what we need. Well, we're going to need one of them. We've already got these. These are almost a guarantee every time that you're going to need them. Surprisingly, the two from the car got repaired. I didn't pay attention to that, but they don't cost much. Oh, I forgot. On this version, you can repair the disc brakes. Pretty sure this is new. It takes it a minute, but it's neat. And you almost always need these as well. Yeah. always rebuild the shock, or build the parts. Oh my gosh. Buy the parts for the shocks, because most of the time you're not going to be able to save them. Only one of those was repairable. Okay. But that's new. I don't remember being able to do that in the other one. Okay. So we're gonna need a few parts. Let's do this. And we'll need one of them. I think it's a drum in the back. So we'll go from here. Oh yeah, I meant to buy them. Oops. Alright, let's build these two. Let's go ahead and get the links. I think we need that, the bottom suspension arm. Yep. What about the upper? Yep. Alright, we need both of those.